In the previous video, we built our data vault and released it, and also showed how hubs, satellites, and links connect to each other. Before we jump in, let me set up the context on what you're about to see. This demo video will be specifically about deploying the model into a runtime environment. In this demo, you're going to choose Snowflake as the example environment. It is important to know that VaultSpeed is not just a modeling tool. It is an automation engine that generates governed code and deploys it into the customer's platform where it runs independently. So very quickly, this is the graphical overview of the model that we designed earlier with both the sources CRM and ERP. Now let's implement this model by generating the code. The next step is DDL and ETL generation. Here you'll see two options, full generation and delta generation. Full generation creates all DDL and ETL code for the selected data vault and business vault releases. It's typically used for an initial deployment or when you want to regenerate the entire model from scratch. Delta generation, on the other hand, only generates the incremental changes between releases, for example, new objects, updated attributes, or structural changes. It's designed for controlled production updates, reducing downtime, and avoiding full reprocessing. For this demo, I'll be using the option of full generation. What you have to do here is select the latest data vault release and business vault release. I can generate the code for a specific layer, but for this deployment, I'll keep it simple and use all. For this specific demo case, I'm going to be using Snowflake SQL for my ETL generation type, but you can also use dbt Snowflake and others depending on your setup and requirements. I'll keep the DDL and the ETL generation options set to all and then trigger the generations. You can see the tasks running in the taskbar and wait for them to get executed. We then go to Flow Management Control, where I'll be generating the latest FMC for initial loading of ERP in my demo. Alright, the generation is complete and I can see a preview of ETL files as well as DDL files. Something really exciting is that nothing is manually coded by me and everything is done by VaultSpeed. Now we'll move on to automatic deployment to deploy what we've generated. Here's the key idea. VaultSpeed generates governed artifacts like DDL structures, ETL transformation logic, and FMC orchestration components and deploys them into the runtime environment. So I'm going to deploy all three of them. Great, the deployment is done. Now I'm going to switch to Snowflake for a quick proof point. Right after the deployment, the tables and the structures exist, but you typically won't find the data populated yet because the data gets loaded when the orchestration runs. That's expected at this stage. We've only deployed the code, but we haven't executed the load workflow. Let's run the orchestration now. This is where Airflow comes in. VaultSpeed integrates with Apache Airflow to orchestrate the loads in a controlled and repeatable way. I'm going to filter the ERP init DAG so we can focus on the ERP load for this demo. Now I'll unpause the DAG and let it run. Perfect, it's loaded successfully and you can also see a graphical overview. And just as a quick practical note, if a run ever fails, it's usually because of an environment constraint like a quota or resource limit. Once that's adjusted, the workflow tasks are restartable, so you can continue from a point of failure instead of restarting everything from scratch. Since the orchestration has completed successfully, that means the load has run and the data should now be populated. Let's go back to Snowflake and confirm. I'm going to open the exact same table. And now you can see that the data is populated. For example, product fields like product ID, code, name, and category. So this is the full end-to-end flow. We modeled and generated governed code in VaultSpeed, deployed it in Snowflake, ran orchestration through Airflow, and verified the results back in Snowflake. That's it for this deployment demo. Thanks for watching.